Okay, so we'll start with chapter 2, constant acceleration. Okay, constant acceleration, children. Okay, so under that, we'll write the first subtopic, displacement time graph. So we'll write the first subtopic, displacement time graphs. Okay. First of all, before I go on with displacement time graph, I think you may have a small, I think you may have a previous idea about displacement time graph from your O levels, right? So anyway, I will give you a quick introduction about displacement time graphs. So first of all, children, are you all aware about something called vector quantities? Are you all aware about something called vector quantities? Yes or no? Scalar quantities and vector quantities. Do you know about them? The difference between scalars and vectors. Do you know about this? Yes or no?
Yeah, teacher.
Yes, Neola?
Vectors are when there's a magnitude and a direction, and scale is when you only have a magnitude.
Yes. So scalar quantities only have magnitude only. Scalar has a magnitude. Magnitude means it only has a size, the magnitude only. While a vector quantity has both a magnitude and a direction. Okay, so vector has both magnitude and direction. Okay, so one example of, so let me give you a few examples of scalars and vectors. So an example of a scalar quantity is shown distance. Okay. Okay. Right. So example of a scalar quantity is distance. Okay. And then the opposite of that is the vector quantity of this same person is displacement. Okay. So let me give you a quick example of the meaning of distance and displacement. Now, for example, say you have, this is your starting point and you travel say 5 kilometers. So this is your starting point A. Okay. You go to point B, 5 kilometers, and then again say you go to point C, which is 2 kilometers. Okay, so now let me ask you a question like this. Okay, so you are going to first travel from A to B, and then you are going to travel from B to C, and then you are going to come back from C to B. What's the distance you travel? You went from A to B, and then you went from B to C, and again from C you came back to B. What's the distance you traveled? Can I know the
9
distance that you all
kilometers.
traveled?
9 kilometers.
Yeah, are the others okay with that? You are traveling 9 kilometers, is that correct? So A to B 5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, and again another kilometers you are coming back. So altogether 5, 6, 7, again coming back 2, so 8, 9. So you have traveled a total distance of 9 kilometers. Okay, you have traveled a distance of total of 9 kilometers. But when we talk about displacement, children, now, what is the problem with displacement? Now, in a scalar quantity, we only take the magnitude. So, we don't care about the direction, whether you are going forward or whether you are going backward. There is no positive, negative direction is not there. But when it comes to vector quantities, children, the direction matters, which means you kind of have a positive direction and then the opposite of that direction is negative. So, for example, here I can say that going to the right is positive. So, I can see A to B, I am going 5 kilometers. Okay, so I have a displacement of 5, B to C another 2. So, altogether, let me give you like this. Displacement is something like this. It gives you the shortest distance. Rather, it gives you like the shortest distance between a pair of points. Then in distance, you don't do that, right? You go up, you come back, you take the total amount you travel. Displacement is not like that. So if you go and you come back, the displacement is actually the shortest distance between the 2 points that you're considering. So what's the displacement from A to B?
5 kilometers.
5 kilometers. It doesn't matter whether you went another 2 and you came back. That is not a problem. So if you went from A and you went to B, it doesn't matter how far of a distance you went. Displacement simply gives you the shortest distance between the 2 points that you're considering. Okay, displacement simply gives you the shortest distance. Okay, so then what happens if you start from A and come back to A? What will be the displacement? You start from A and you go to C and you come back again to A. What will be your displacement?
0 kilometers.
Can the others understand? You start from A, you go to B, you go to C, again you come back to B, you come back to A, you come back to the starting point. You start from A, you come back to A, so your displacement will be 0. Your displacement is going to be 0. What about your distance? You start from A, you come back to A. What is your distance? What is your distance?
14 kilometers.
You can understand that, right? So your distance will be 14 kilometers because you go 7 kilometers front, 7 kilometers back. Distance is 14 kilometers, but displacement from A to A will be 0. Okay, children? Right. So then, so this is just a quick introduction about what is distance and what is displacement. Okay, so let's go on and write the topic, children. Displacement time graph. So this is our main part of the lesson, displacement time graph. So I will teach you a few, how do you say, there are a few things that you need to know about the displacement time graphs. Okay, so displacement time graphs. So the thing is, it's the displacement will be plotted on the y-axis. The time is plotted on the x-axis. Okay, so then there are a few things you need to know about the displacement time graph. What are they? Number one, displacement time graph. Okay, so there are a few things you need to know about the displacement time graph. Number one, the gradient. Write down the gradient of the displacement time graph. Gradient of the displacement time graph Are you having any idea about what will this be? What this quantity will be? The gradient of the displacement time graph will be the, any idea? The gradient of the displacement time graph will be the, yes,
Velocity.
velocity. The gradient of the displacement time graph is velocity. So write down. Okay, the gradient of the displacement time graph is velocity. Okay, so you all know about the meaning of the gradient of a graph, right? Gradient is a slope, and you all know how to calculate the slope. So let's go for a few example graphs. Okay, so let me give you this kind of this. So this is time. This is the displacement. Okay, so this is time measured in second, displacement. So you have a graph that looks like this. So what do you have to say about this graph?
Velocity is constant.
Now the gradient of the displacement time graph is the velocity. So normally, children, are you aware of the gradient when a line is parallel to the x-axis? When a straight line is parallel to the x-axis, do you have any idea about its gradient? What do you have to say about the gradient when the line is parallel to the x-axis? Do you remember? Yes? Now the people with the cameras off, I would really prefer to hear an answer from y'all, because I don't know what's going on at your end, what's going on, whether y'all are listening or not. So I would prefer to hear some answers from your end.
Is it 0?
So there is a suggestion saying, is it 0? What do the others think? Do you think it's 0? I had another answer where you said that the velocity is constant. So there are a few answers. So what is your choice? Is it constant or is it 0? You can send me the answer on the chat. Give me the answer on the chat. You can choose. If one of those two answers are obviously, I think you can understand it's going to be one of those two, right? Okay, so what do you think? Is it 0 or is it constant? Because I want to see what you what your ideas are. So I have answers from 3 of you. I want answers from everyone. Whether you believe this gradient, whether you have a constant velocity or whether you have 0 velocity. Like everyone, Kavindu, I'd like to see answers from all of you. Y'all have to be interacting in the classroom, because this will be going on online for a long time, and we really have to make the best of what we have. So this is what we have, and the class has to we have to communicate. I just want answers from everyone. Okay, so then I think I have from most of you. So I think people are choosing sides. Some of you are 0, some of you are constant velocity. So there is a kind of like a tug of war between the two answers. Okay. So what is the correct answer, children? Okay. Now the thing is this: y'all have to know, children, when any graph or when any straight line or any curve graph, whatever it is, if that line or if that graph, if at a point if it's becoming parallel to the x-axis, okay, when any graph is becoming parallel to the x-axis, okay, so when a graph or when a straight line, okay, is parallel to the x-axis, what's going to be happen? What's going to happen when a graph is parallel to the x-axis? The gradient is 0. So please write this down, note it down, and remember this. When any graph is parallel to the x-axis, the gradient is 0. When any graph is parallel to the x-axis, the gradient is 0. Okay, so which means what? So what is the correct answer in that case? So in that case, the correct answer is, now the gradient of the displacement time graph is going to give you the velocity. So if the gradient of the displacement time graph is going to give you the velocity, here you have gradient is what? In this situation, gradient is 0. So 0 gradient means what? 0 gradient means here velocity is 0. Velocity is 0 means what? The object is moving or staying in one place. The velocity is 0.
Staying in one place.
The object is staying in one place. We use the word stationary. The object is stationary. The object is stationary. Okay, so have an idea, try to understand all of this. So then you might say you have this displacement point is 10 meters. So this displacement is 10 meters. So what does this mean? If this value is 10, it's like this. What's happening here really is, now say you're starting from this is your road and this is your starting point. Okay, this is your starting point. So what's happening is 10 meters after the starting point, 10 meters after the starting point, you are over here. This is your object. Your object is staying stationary, not moving. So that's what's happening here. This particular object is 10 meters away from the starting point. This particular object is 10 meters away from the starting point and it's staying over there. It's not moving. It's not moving to the left or right. It's just staying. It's just staying in the middle of the road, Kilita. Do you understand? This is the start. Starting again now, 10 meters. 10 meters it has displayed itself 10 meters and it's just staying there. Not moving. It's not moving. Do you understand the real meaning of the graph now? Time is going. This guy is staying in one place. Understood? The time is moving, but this guy is staying in one place. Okay? This is the meaning of this graph. The meaning of this graph. When we how do you say, with the when I put a particle into it. So if there is an object, this object is not moving. It's staying 10 meters away from the starting point and just staying there. Okay, children? Let's go to the second graph. Graph number 2. So I want you to interpret this graph and give me your own meaning. Okay. So give this your own meaning. Displacement time. Displacement measured in meters. Time measured in seconds. So let's go for this graph. Displacement measured in meters. Time measured in seconds. Okay. So first you think about the gradient. First you think about the gradient and you try to give your own interpretation here. First you give your own answer and can you send me your answer on the chat also. You can give your guessed answer. Now you can see the gradient here. Think about the gradient. Gradient represents the velocity. Think about the gradient. The gradient represents the velocity. If the gradient represents the velocity, then what will be the meaning? How is this object move? What kind of a movement will this object have? Is it moving? First question, is it moving? Then if it's moving, how is it moving? Okay, so I have a few answers. I want more crescent, a little bit more. Okay, so I have good answers. I think y'all are okay, good. So, okay, people are good. Okay, so really good, children. I think your answers, okay, so your answers are good. Okay, so it's like this. So you look at the gradient here. What do you see when you look at the gradient? So when you look at this gradient, you can see it's a straight line. And when it's a straight line, you know the gradient is what for the, is it a changing gradient or is it a constant gradient? Normally a straight line, when it's a straight line, we say it has a constant gradient, right? So if it's a changing gradient, then it's a curve, right? So if you draw a curve graph, this is changing gradient. A curve graph has changing gradient, but a straight line has a constant gradient. Okay, a straight line has a constant gradient. A curve graph has changing gradient. Okay, so here this is a constant gradient graph. So if it's constant gradient, you can write here gradient is constant. So if gradient is constant, what's happening? Gradient is constant, number one. Therefore, what happens? You know, gradient is equal to the velocity. Gradient and velocity are the same thing. Therefore, what? Gradient is constant means here you are having constant velocity. Therefore, velocity is constant. Velocity is constant. So if you are moving at 10 meters per second, then the entire journey you are moving at 10 meters per second. And then, so definitely you can see here displacement, okay, 5, 10, 15, 20 kk. With the time, the displacement is increasing in a constant manner. Okay, so this is not a case where the object is staying in one place. So here, this is your starting point, and this object is moving. So this object is moving at constant velocity. So if I can actually find the gradient, then I can find the velocity. Y'all know ways of calculating gradients, right? Y'all know methods of calculating gradients. So if you can actually find the gradient, then you can actually find the velocity. Okay, then shall we go for the next graph? What if I give you a graph that looks a little bit weird like this? Let me give you a different type of graph. What if you have a graph like this? What does this mean? Try to understand this. Well, let's see your answers on the chat. What do you think about this graph? Yeah, I want an idea about the speed, and I also want you to give me an I want an idea about the velocity, but I also want a little bit more. So the object is moving or not. First thing is whether the object is moving or not, and the other thing is about the position of the object. Think properly, children. So all the information is given to you now. Oh, and there's a B. Oh gosh. Okay. So what's the answer here? I can see a few correct answers on the chat. So actually here, first thing is you look at the gradient and you can see the gradient is definitely what, children? Gradient is definitely 0 because at any point in a graph, if your graph or line is parallel to the x-axis, that means gradient is the 0. Okay, so gradient is 0, which means what? Gradient is 0 means, children, velocity is 0. Okay, your velocity is 0. So if your velocity is 0, so obviously what object is not moving, the object is stationary. So how will this object be located now? If you look at it from the point of view of wherever you started, so this 0 is the starting point. So from the starting point, children, this time this object is where? It's 5 meters, it's displaced 5 meters, not to the right, but to the left. It has gone back. Okay, so now you have to understand. So a positive displacement means where you are ahead of your starting point. A negative displacement means where you are behind your starting point. Can you all understand? So there are two things. In displacement, you have a positive displacement and a negative. A positive displacement is where you are ahead of your starting point. A negative displacement is where you are behind your starting point. So here, a negative minus 5 means that from your starting point, you're 5 meters behind and you're just staying in one place. This object is staying in one place 5 meters behind the starting point. Can you see the difference? Okay, it's not moving. So this is staying, this is stationary and it's just staying in one place but 5 meters behind the starting point. Something like that. I just want to give you an idea about what this really feels like. Okay. So I think this is it. We'll go for the exercise now. Are y'all done with this? Okay, are y'all done with this? Shall we move on? Okay, I hope you have copied down. Okay, I hope you have copied down. Okay, so let's go for a question. So we'll go for exercise 2A, question number 1. Exercise 2A, question number 1. Let's start with this. Exercise 2A, question number 1. Okay, so let's read the question. This is a displacement time graph for a car traveling along a straight road. The journey is divided into 5 stages labeled A to B. I think you can see the 5 stages, right? The stage A, the stage B. So you can, I think, clearly see what is the difference in each and every stage, right? So I'm making it a little bit larger for you all to look. So they're asking you work out the average velocity for each stage of the journey. Okay, so you have to find the average velocity for each stage of your journey. Okay, so what do we know, children? We know the velocity for each stage is what? If you take stage A, the velocity is what? The velocity is the gradient of the graph. So basically, if you can find the gradient of the graph, you have the velocity. Okay, so all you need to do is to get the gradient. So how do we normally get the gradient of a straight line? So there are a few ways to get the gradient. One way to get the gradient is if you know the two coordinates, the equation to get the gradient would be you can use the y difference. You take the y difference over the x difference. Do you remember this? Taking the y difference over the x difference gives you the gradient, because in this case, you know why? The gradient is giving you the velocity. So if you want the velocity, get the gradient. That's it. So you can do this by the coordinate method also, or there is another way. So you can say, yeah, so we'll do it that way. I think that is easy. Okay, so they are saying here work out the average velocity for each stage of the journey. So let's get it done. So stage A, I'll make it a little bit smaller. Stage A, let's get stage A velocity. Stage A. Okay, so velocity. So actually velocity, we even have the equation, right? I think you may have heard of this equation in O levels. Velocity equals displacement divided by time. Have you heard of this equation? You can even use this equation, or you can use velocity is the gradient. Okay, you may use any one of these two. Velocity is displacement over time, or velocity is the gradient. Okay, so you can use any one of the two. I'll show you from both. So if I use velocity is gradient over time, so displacement over time. So if I take stage A, what's the displacement, children, in stage A? Can you all tell me, looking at this graph, how much of a displacement do I have only for stage A? Only for taking that small part A, how much of a displacement do I have? Balan Lamai, tell me. Look at the graph and tell me how much of a displacement do I have for stage A? Yes, I can see a few answers on the chat. I'd like to see, but everyone needs to respond like fast as possible. Your keyboards are with you. You may use your mic, anything. Okay, so responses have to come fast, and responses have to y'all have to be like showing me that y'all are in the class, especially the people with the cameras off. Please talk with me, and the others keep the cameras on as much as possible. Yeah, so I can see your answers are all 40, right? So the displacement for stage A is 40. If anyone has any issue about it, you may ask it from me. There are no problems about asking any questions in the class. Okay, yeah. So the displacement of stage A is 40. 40 over how much of a time has it taken to get this displacement of 40? To make the displacement of 40, how much of time?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. So I prefer to keep my answer in actually, like we need to keep our answers in standard units. So this is in kilometers. So I prefer to keep my time in hours, right? So I want to keep my time in hours. So I'd make this what?
Half
30
an hour.
minutes, half an hour, half an hour. So half of an hour. So 40 divided by half. So divide 40 by half. You can give it in the cal or you can do it from your head. 40 divided by half, you get 80 kilometers per hour. So then, yeah, the average velocity for stage A is 80 kilometers per hour. So let me show this to you from the gradient method also. So if I use the gradient method, children, what do we do in gradient method? We need two coordinates. Are you hearing me? In gradient method, we take the line and we take two coordinates. So if, for example, I take the two coordinates at the starting and the ending here. So my starting coordinate 0, 0, ending coordinate is, what is it? So this is 30 minutes, right? So this ending coordinate, this is 30 minutes, which means this is, now, this is, even though they say 9:30 here, children, you have to know 9:30 here is the time 0. 10 here means the time is half. 10:30 here means time is 1. This is 1 and half, 11. At 11:30 time is 2. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? Though they mention 9:30 here, when we are taking the time axis, this is 0. At 10 o'clock, 9:30 10 means it's half an hour. So 0.5. Now then at 10:30 it's 1 hour. So then from 0 to the other part, the coordinates are 0, 0. The other coordinate is what? The other coordinate is half comma 40. Can you all understand, children, my two coordinates 0, 0 and the other coordinate is half comma 40. Okay, so use the coordinates and you can get the velocity equal change in y. So this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. So y1 minus y2, 0 minus 40 or x1 minus x2. So divide this and see, are we getting the same answer or not? Can't we convert the time to seconds? There's a question. We can, but I prefer to keep now in here. They have not actually told you whether to keep your answer in meters per second or kilometer per hour. So normally the SI units of velocity are meters per second. Okay, but in here they have not mentioned you anything. But in the exam, they will definitely tell you whether to keep in kilometer per hour or meter per second, whatever it is. It will be very clearly mentioned. So here I thought of keeping it in kilometer per hour because it's easy. It's another. Not a SI unit, kilometer per hour is a standard unit, but don't worry, in the paper you will not get any confusion regarding the unit because they will be very clear about it. Okay, so the things like these are very clear. Now here this is just a simple example of how this is done. Okay, so they have not gone into that much details. They just want you to know how to manage to do this sum. Okay, yeah, so I think you can see we get the same answer 80, right? So this is kilometer, this is in hour, 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, because your y is measured in kilometers, your x is measured in hours. Okay, right. So then likewise with the send me the stage B, stage C, stage D, stage E. I want all these answers. Can you all please send me all these answers? I will do in kilometer per hour. Okay, I already have the answers from Angelo, who has found all the stage velocities. So very good. Can you all get me the answers for stage B? So you may use any method you prefer. If you prefer displacement over time, no problem, go ahead with that. If you prefer the gradient technique, go ahead with that. Okay, it's entirely up to you which method you choose. I want answers for stage B. I want answers for stage C. I want answers for stage D and E. Send me answers on the chat. Okay, so let's check the answers for stage B and stage C, children. So stage B, okay, stage B. So if you use displacement over time, I think it's easier. So the velocity, we can see first of all, it's a straight line. Okay, always check whether you are having curve graphs or straight line graphs or what you are having. Okay, so here we can see very clearly it's a straight line graph from B to C. So quite clearly it's a constant velocity. So velocity displacement over time. So what's the displacement? The displacement is how much of a displacement do I have in the stage B? I can see stage B starts from 40, displacement 40, and it goes until 60. 40 to 60 means I have a displacement of 20. My displacement is 20. Are you all okay with this, children? Stage B, I have a displacement of 20 over the time taken to go from this part. So I can see it's half an hour. 10 to 10:30, it's half an hour. So 0.5, time is 0.5. So 20 kilometers with 0.5 hours, you divide, you get 40 kilometers per hour. So please check your answers and correct them. Stage C, children, do we need to actually, sweat and, do displacement over time or anything actually? So this is what I was explaining you in the earlier examples, right? So whenever your straight line becomes parallel to the x-axis, whenever your straight line becomes parallel to the x-axis, the gradient is zero. The gradient is zero means the velocity is zero. So at stage C, velocity is zero. Stage C, velocity is zero. Okay, stage D. Let's go for stage D. In stage D, children, we can see velocity displacement over time. So displacement, how much do we have here? Starting stage D starts at displacement 60, ends at displacement 100. 60 to 100 means we have a displacement of 40, right? That's a displacement of 40. How much of a time are we taking? 11 to 12. So 11 to 12 means you are taking
1 hour.
exactly 1 hour. So 40 kilometer in 1 hour. So that's going to be again 40 kilometers per hour. Okay, so 40 kilometers per hour. So actually you can see stage B and stage D are what? Stage B and stage D are having the same velocity. Can you see? Just showing you. So if the velocities are same, you know what it means, right? The gradients are same. Velocities are same. Gradients are same. It means obviously these two lines are parallel. Just showing you something extra. Okay, it's not necessary here. Okay, it's not necessary. I'm just showing you if the gradients are the same, then those two particular parts are parallel, right? Okay, that's not required here. It's not required here. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, stage E. This is where many of you went wrong. Stage E is where many of you went wrong. Your answers are wrong. Why is that? Only a few people, when I told it wrong, they managed to correct it and send me the correct answer. Stage E. Now I know when you use velocities displacement over time, you get a different answer. Okay, so you are getting a different answer. So let me show you what we need to do here. Okay, it's like this, children. Now when you see this straight line here, look at the stage E. What do you understand in real context? In the real world context, what does stage E mean? Can you all tell me? What does this stage E mean? Now stage A is what? In stage A, you are starting from your starting point and you are moving at 80 kilometers per hour. You are going front. At stage A, you are going 80 kilometers per hour. You are going front until you come to a displacement of 40. Then B to C, what happens? You are going at 40. You are going at a reduced speed of 40 kilometers per hour until you come to displacement of 60. I don't know whether you are understanding this. Then C, at stage C, you are resting. You are staying in one place. You are not moving. You are having a rest. And then C to D, what happens? Again, you are moving forward. From 60 to 100, you are going 100. You are going another 40 kilometers front. So you are going, you are moving front. You are moving to the right. You are going front. So after you come to a displacement of 100, look what happens in stage G, Pudhi. Look what happens in stage G, and can you tell me what's happening?
The velocity is decreasing.
No, velocity is not decreasing. Velocity is the gradient. Understand this. Velocity is the gradient. Now, do you see what kind? This is a straight line. So, if it's a straight line, what do we have with it? Do we have a decreasing gradient, or do we have a constant gradient? If it's a straight line. If it's a straight line,
Constant gradient.
constant gradient, that means you have constant velocity. At stage E, you definitely have constant velocity. At stage E, you definitely have constant velocity. But my issue is this. My issue is what's really happening here. In the context of the real world now, at this point, at the end of stage D, you're 100 kilometers away from home. Say you started from O, 0 is home. 0 is home. By the end of stage D, you're 100 kilometers away from home. What's happening in stage E? What's
You're
happening?
coming back.
You're coming back. Can you see the displacement? You're coming back. You're coming back to the where? Starting point. You're coming back to the displacement 0 point. You are coming back to the displacement 0. May? At 11:30, you have come back to displacement 0, which means what? So if I give you a in detail like a road map, so this is the road. Okay, so this is the road. This is the starting point. So stage A, at stage A, what's happening? At stage A, you travel 40 kilometers. Stage A, you travel 40 kilometers at 80 kilometer per hour. Then you come to stage B. At stage B, you traveled how many kilometers, Miban? At stage B, you have a displacement of 20. You have a displacement of 20 at how much? Stage B velocity is 40 kilometer per hour. 40 kilometer per hour. And then you come to stage C. Stage C, you are not moving. So actually there is no distance, 0 kilometers. Okay, you are not moving. So it's at rest. That means you are staying at the same point on the road. Eventually, you are not moving anywhere on the road. Stage C is staying in one place. You are not moving. 0 kilometers means you are at the same place. Okay, so there is no movement there. Then you come to stage D. Stage D, you have moved how many kilometers? 40 kilometers at again 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, and then you come to this place. Okay, so you have, this is the road. This is the way you're traveling in the road. First 40 kilometers, then another 20 kilometers, then you're resting, staying in one place. Then you're going another 40 kilometers. Then you come to this place where you are 100 kilometers away from home. So 40, 20, 60, another 40, you're 100 kilometers away from the starting point. From the starting point, you're 100 kilometers away. This is at the end of stage D. Now, after stage D, what's happening? You come in stage D. What do you see? Can you see? You're coming back. Your displacement is going back, which means you are entirely going. This entire stretch you are taking in one go. This entire stretch you are coming back in one go, children. This is the stage E. Stage E, entire displacement is 100, but it's a what 100 because you're coming backwards. You know, in displacement, children, we have a thing. We are sensitive to the direction. We are sensitive to the direction. So this is a what 100. Are we going positive 100 or negative 100 now? Tell me, children, is it positive or negative? You are coming back, right?
Negative 100.
Negative 100 because you are coming to the negative direction. And then the time taken, you can see how much time have it taken. Starting from 12, ending at 1:30. How much time has it taken? This is, if I write this is 2.5, this is 3, this is 3.5, this is 4. If I put the values here, just putting. So 12 to 1:30 is you have 1.5 hours. 12 to 1:30, 12 to 1 is 1 hour, 1 to 1:30 half an hour. You have 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours. Okay. So stage E, velocity equal displacement over time. Displacement is negative 100. Time is 1.5 hours. What's the answer? What is the answer? I think I saw on the chat negative 66.7.
Yes.
Do this from the this thing also. Do this now. If you the best way in this situation is sure you don't have any of these problems. You don't have to think about positive or whether it's negative. If you are using the coordinates, if you use the gradient technique, the positive negative will automatically come. You don't even have to think about the negative. Here we thought about the negative sign and put it. Why don't you do stage T from the gradient method? Do it from the gradient method. So velocity equal y difference. Velocity equal y difference over x difference. Make a so I'll put these two coordinates. Let me put these two coordinates. Can you see I'm using these two coordinates at stage D? The first coordinate is this is 2.5, 100. Do you agree? My coordinate at stage D starting at 2.5, 100, ending at this coordinate is 4, 0. Ending at 4, 0. Do you agree? I have put here each and every small square is 0.5, 0.51, 1.5. You can see the way I have marked. If you are having trouble with these coordinates, tell me. Okay, because we can't start now. When you're putting coordinates, children, you can't put 9:30, 10, 10:30. You can't put 9:30, 10:30. Those things you can't put. So then in the x-axis has to be properly written. That's why I wrote x-axis starting 0. Then the 9:30, 10:30 means half an hour. So that's why I put 0.5. So you can see the way I have marked here, right? I hope you all can understand. So if you use these two coordinates and you get the answer, you will get the answer in one go. The negative will come and you don't even have to think about the negative. So y2, I'll say 0 minus 100. Okay, y1. y1 is 0, y2 is 100. x1 is 4, x2 is 2.5. What's the answer? Negative 100 over 4 minus 2.5 is 1.5, right? Am I correct? And do we get the same answer? Do we get the same answer? Yes, Neda. We get the same answer, right? We get the same answer, right? Let's go to part B, children. We are taking a long time. I'm taking a long time to explain these things because I want you to understand them like properly, 100%. Okay, so that there will be no errors. You will not make any error. Remember, in displacement time graph, don't use the word acceleration, okay? Because when you are having these graphs, you see this graph is going forward, but when there is a constant straight line, that means it's a constant velocity. Okay, so you can't use acceleration here. Acceleration means when the velocity is changing. Here we don't have change in velocity. Here we don't. Here we have constant gradient, which is constant. Constant gradient means the velocity is same. Okay, then what about part B? Give me your answers for part B. State the average velocity for the whole journey. What do you mean by average velocity? What do you mean by average velocity? I hope all of you had time to copy this down because I'm going to move to the other side. I hope all of you have copied down. Have you? Did all of
Yes,
you copy
teacher.
down? Okay, then let's move to the next part. Average velocity. So we'll write the rule. I think you all know the rule for average speed and average velocity is the same. So in you have learned average speed is total distance over total time. Have you heard of that? Average speed is equal to total distance, the total distance over the total time. So average velocity for the whole journey. Now they want the average velocity for the whole journey. The average velocity for the whole journey is what? The displacement of the whole journey. You don't have a total displacement, right? Displacement is one. The displacement of journey. The displacement of the journey divided by the total time. Can you all please tell me the answer for part B? Give me the answer on the chat. I want you all to tell me what is the average velocity for this entire journey. So it's equal to the displacement of the journey divided by the total time taken. Give me your answers. Let's see what are your answers. What are your answers? Think very, very carefully. Think very, very carefully. Think and then think again. Think and think again about your answer. Okay, I can see answers on the chat. I can see only one correct answer so far. What about the others? Send me answers. You give me your genuine answers. Don't look at the back of the book or don't look anywhere else. Just think about what you really feel. Okay, so it's there's no problem whether your answers are correct or wrong, but it's just I want to see what's there in your head. Then I know how much work I have to do to get you all to the stage where I want you to come. Okay, I want the answer for part B. Give your honest opinion. Give your honest opinion. I have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers on the chat. Can I have a few more? Give your honest opinion on what you feel about this answer. See children, now when we say average velocity, I told you it's the displacement of the journey divided by the total time. So now when you consider this entire journey, you start from the starting point home, and then you go, and then you're like coming back. Now think think to yourselves. I was giving you this explanation at the very beginning of the lesson, right? I was giving you the meaning of displacement at the very beginning. Can you remember I gave you this clear explanation? I told you when you're starting at A, and if you come back to A, what's the displacement of the entire journey? You start from A, you come back to A, your displacement is going to be what, children?
0.
0. So here also, children, don't you see that it's the same story? Can't you see it's the same story? Why do you send me some weird answers? You all have to see, children, here. You're starting at displacement 0 position. You're starting at displacement 0 position. Then you are displacing yourself 100 kilometers away from the starting point. Starting point, you are displacing yourself 100 kilometers away. And then again from this point, you're coming back to the starting point. You're coming back to the starting point, which means what? Which means what? What's the total displacement of the journey? Don't you all get it, children? What is the displacement of the journey?
Is it 0?
It's 0. It is 0 because you are literally coming back to the place where you started. You are basically coming back to the place where you started. So you don't have any displacement. Your displacement is 0. Your displacement is 0. So average velocity. Displacement for the whole journey is 0. Time taken is maybe 4 hours. So that's no point. Average velocity is 0. Average velocity is 0. Check your answers and correct them. Part C, average speed. Average speed. Get the average speed, total distance over total time. So now what's the total distance that you have traveled? Now be strategic, children. Be strategic. What is the, now understand the graph. To write this total distance, you have to really understand what's happening. Now I explained you, even with a road map. Here I drew a road map of how this person traveled also. मैं रोड मैप पर ट्रैवल करा मगर पे ना he went 100 kilometers front and he came back 100 kilometers. मैं क्यों हुआ? I told you he's coming back 100 kilometers back. So he's coming back. That's why displacement is 0. So now think about the same road map. Now you don't have to draw these road maps in your exam. Okay, these things are not necessary to be drawn. Okay, please don't draw them because yeah, it should be drawn in your head. Okay, I want these things to be visualized in your head. When you're doing the sum, this is there in your head. Okay, you don't have to specifically draw these things. Okay, Budala, you don't have to specifically draw these things. Now, think about this journey. Think about it in this graph and tell me how much of a distance are you moving in this entire journey? What's the distance you are moving? What is the distance you are moving in this entire journey? Tell me an answer. What is the distance you are moving to complete this journey? Yeah? Answers. What's the distance you are moving? Give me chat or either you can tell it directly out loud. I want answers from everyone.
Is it 200 kilometers?
Okay, so I have an answer saying 200 kilometers. What do the others think? Is it correct or wrong? I have a few on the chat. Everyone has to have an opinion today. You cannot be relying on another person's opinion. You cannot be relying on my opinion. Okay, because when you get the paper, it's going to be your opinion, it's going to be your brains, and it's going to be how much you have tested your brain. So make sure you think. You need to think for yourself. You cannot be thinking what I'm saying to you. Okay, think for yourself. It's quite easy. These are like very simple things. So I have drawn the roadmap here and I have drawn the graph is also there here. So very clearly what? You have gone 100 kilometers front. You are coming another 100 kilometers back. So end of the day, your distance is 200 kilometers. Your distance is 200 kilometers. So average speed, total distance over total time. Total distance over total time. Total distance is 200 kilometers is the distance you have traveled. Total time is 4 hours. And the answer is what? 200 divided by 4? 50 kilometers per hour. I think I saw that many of you Many of you had sent me the answer 50 kilometer per hour in part B for average velocity. I saw that for average velocity, many people sent me this as their answer. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. How many of you for average velocity sent me this answer? How in the world can this come for average velocity? Velocity is displacement, not distance. But there is a very clear, there is a fine line of the difference between distance and displacement. There's a big gap. There's a quite a large difference between distance and displacement. So you have to understand that fine line of where the difference is there. Okay, distance is something else, displacement is something else. Do not mix them up because your answers were wrong. Okay, so you kind of mix these two. You send me the answer in part C for part B. Remember, a total distance and total displacement, there is a big difference in the word. Okay, I hope you all can understand. Do you? So we'll do question number, I think, I hope you all are done. So I think in a graph like this, just to tell you, yeah, we'll maybe go for that graph. Okay, wait, we'll go for question number 2 and go for question number 4. Do question number 2 also. I want to see whether you can still get this. Do question number 2, then we'll go to question number 4. Send me the answers for question number 2, children. Okay, so listen to this, children. Question number 2. Khalid drives from his home to a hotel. He drives for 2.5 hours at an average velocity of 60 kilometers per hour. I think when you look at this graph, you can see where that you can see the this particular story here. Can you see? So he drives for 2.5 hours. I think we can very clearly see. So here, so this is the first stretch. Let's say the first stretch is A. Then the second one is B, the last one is C. So we'll mark like what we did earlier. So in stretch A, he goes in one directly, he goes at constant velocity. Start the stretch A for 2.5 hours. We can see that very clearly at an average velocity of 60 kilometer per hour. So this the velocity is 60 kilometer per hour. So you can and now we don't have any problem with the negative side, right? Now in the earlier graph, we had the place where we were coming back, so we had negative displacement. But in this graph, you can see it's all going forward only. It's all going forward. We don't have any negative displacement. There is no negative displacement. Therefore, okay, what you can do here is question number 2. Okay, so the displacement, work out the displacement. So they want at the end when he reaches the hotel. Okay, so what you do is first you get the displacement for stage A. Go to stage A and you can use what? Velocity equal displacement over time. Now here you don't have to worry about negative displacement. Very clearly we can see this person is going forward. So velocity is given as 60 kilometers per hour. Displacement, I don't know. Time is 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. So I multiply this and tell me what's the displacement, 60 into 2.5.
150 kilometers.
How much?
150.
150 kilometers. This is the answer that you all gave for part A. I can now see the 150 kilometers. Okay, so 150 kilometers for part A. Answer is correct or wrong? Work out the displacement of the hotel from Khalid's home. So is the hotel situated at the end of stretch A? Is the hotel there at the end of stretch A or is it at the end of the whole journey, which is the end of C? You can see it's at the end of C. So if you say the answer for part A is 150, you are wrong. So 150 answer is wrong, Putala. Okay, because I saw that was one of the answers on the chat. Okay, so 150 is the displacement at this point. Okay, 150 is the displacement at the end of stretch A. He then stops for lunch. I think we can see B very clearly. A line parallel to X means you're resting. At B, you're resting. That's obvious. And then he stops for lunch before continuing to his hotel. The diagram shows the displacement time graph. Work out the displacement of the hotel from Khalid's home. Okay. Khalid drives from his home to Horror. He drives for 2.5 hours at an average of 60. He then stops for lunch before continuing. The diagram shows the displacement time graph. Okay. So then he is continuing. I think we have to use the fact that he's continuing at the same speed. Okay. Otherwise, we can't do this. Ne? Right? You have to use the fact that he's continuing at the same speed of 60. Okay. How much time has he taken?
Miss, we can't use that.
Okay. What did you all use then? Tell me.
Because in the second question, there's average velocity.
For his whole journey. No, our whole journey is the total distance over total time. Okay, wait. Khalid drives he drives for 2.5 hours at an average speed of 60. He stops for lunch, that is B. The diagram shows the displacement time graph. Okay. Work out the, you need to work, they are saying here the scale. They are saying you need to work out the scale on the vertical axis. Okay, so that is the clue they have given. Okay, but that is, they're asking us to get the scale on the y-axis and do it. That's how they have told. Okay, so I think you can, so then use that hint, children. That's the way to do it then. So what's the value of one box here then? Because we found here this is
25.
150. Yeah. So you have to get the value of one box. Use the hint here. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to do. So the value of one box, this is how many boxes for 150? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ne? 6 boxes, 150. What's the value of this one box? Divide and tell me 150 divided by 6 is how much for them?
2.5 teacher.
Sorry?
2.5.
150 divided by 6,
25.
25, right? 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. That's how it goes. Each and every box is 25 with that. Not 2.5.
Teacher, I get 2.5 in the case. 150 divided by 60.
See, 150 divided by 6. Because there are 6 boxes.
Okay.
There are 6 boxes, not 60 boxes. You find the value of one box. So one box is 25. Because they are
Okay.
telling here you need to work out the scale on the vertical axis. So now you can see he ends the journey at C. So I think you can see when he ends the journey, do you see they have stopped this graph from like the middle of the, so we can say assume that they have stopped on the middle of this box here. Okay, so that's the only we have to assume it's stopping in the middle of this box. So how much has he gone here? So one whole box is 25 and the other box is how much? It's going to be half of 25 here, right? Are you getting the displacement, Budala? Okay, one whole box is 25. So this is 150 and this is another 25 is 175. And this small part here, okay, this small part here, do you see? This whole box is 25, so this small part is half of 25. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes or no?
Yes.
So then add all this and get me the proper value of C. So you know this at D you ended 150, then
45.
this is 175 plus another half of 25.
187.5.
187.5. Is this clear with everyone? Is this clear with everyone? 187.5.
Yes.
If you all are having any issues, tell me. Krisat, Kavindra, Vidushini, Laturshan. Netra, what about you all? Can you all tell me any issues you all have here? Okay, so the answer is 187.5. So you can write the answer. I made it smaller again. So answer for part A, 150 plus another 25 plus another 25 over 2. So 187.5 kilometers. Hardalamai, then the next one. Work out Khalid's average velocity for his whole journey. So average velocity for the whole journey, you know the rule, average velocity is displacement for the whole journey divided by the time. Can you all get the answer for that? So displacement for the whole journey divided by the time. So time also we can say that is in the middle of this box here. So this is going to be how many hours then? This is 3.5. This is 3.5. So this is 3.75. Middle of 3.5 and 4. Balanlamai. You all know to get the middle of 3.5 and 4, right? Add 3.5 and 4 and divide by 2. 3.5 plus 4, you add it and you divide by 2 and you get 3.75. Okay? So that's 3.75 and you can now get the average velocity for the whole journey. So average velocity for the whole journey, second question part B. Average velocity is equal to the displacement of the journey divided by the total time. So what's the displacement for the whole journey, Padala? The displacement for the whole journey is, you all know he's traveling, even though he's taking a rest, it doesn't matter. You take the displacement is how much for the whole journey? Displacement is 187.5 kilometers and the total time taken for the whole journey is how much? How much time has they taken for the whole journey? Can you all tell me? How much time have you taken for the whole journey? How much time have you taken for the whole journey? Can you all
0.75.
3.75 hours. So divide and tell me the answer. What's the answer?
50.
50 exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, teacher. 187.5 divided by 3.75 is 50.
50 kilometers per hour is the average speed. Tashara, check the answer. What is the 57.69 Buddha? Second. You have to take the stops also. If they tell you to get the average velocity excluding stops, then only you should remove the time that you are waiting. When they say average time is 3.25, no, 3.75. Why you take 3.25? Did you exclude the time that you are waiting here? 1 hour, not 1 hour, half an hour. 3.25 it's 3.75. Now when you say average velocity for the whole journey, it's total the displacement over the total time, not total time excluding stops. Now if they say find the average velocity excluding the stops, then what you're saying is correct. 3.25. Now I think what you've done here is this from 3.75 you have subtracted this half an hour. Okay, you took that time also. A time it's 3.75 because from here to here in the middle of 3 to 3 point, this is middle of 3 and 4 3.5, this is middle of 3.5 and 4 3.75. Okay, so I hope that's all clear to all of you children. So let's move on to the next part. So when okay, we'll quickly go through this without going through a lot. So question number 4, because I want to give you an idea about what to do when it's a curve graph, because I never gave you a displacement time graph without straight lines. Now you can see here it's a displacement time graph, but it's a curved. I mean it's a curve, not a straight line graph. So what do you understand when it's a curve graph? What do you have to say about the gradient? What do you have to say about the gradient? Are we having constant gradient now?
No, it's not constant.
Not
Changes time to time.
It changes every second. The gradient is changing. Every second the gradient is changing means you are having a changing velocity. Are you getting what I'm saying? This graph is an example of a graph with changing velocity. So in a changing velocity time graph, you may have acceleration. Definitely. So this is a graph which may have acceleration, which has definitely, it has acceleration. Why? Because very clearly we can see gradient is changing point to point. At every point gradient is changing. So when the gradient is changing, it means the velocity is changing. So velocity is changing means there is acceleration. Okay, so this is the example of acceleration, displacement time graph with acceleration. Okay, so this is the example of a displacement time graph with acceleration. Okay, so let's do this Sampradala. A ball is thrown vertically up in the air and falls to the ground. Okay, this is the displacement time graph for the motion of the ball. So they have drawn a displacement time graph for the motion of the ball. Find the maximum height of the ball and the time at which it reaches this height. Can you all look at this graph and tell me where it reaches the maximum height? So maximum height, you have to kind of take it from this graph. I think we can see over here, right? So have a good look at the graph and tell me the value of the maximum height of the graph. This point, right? Oh, no.
2.5, 2.4 like.
2.5, no, exactly. Yeah, 2.5. No, it goes at 2.5 exactly here. So maximum height of the ball and the time. So maximum height is 2.5 meters and the time. So you have to kind of like see the highest peak of the graph. I know it's a little bit difficult to see it. Okay, so look at the highest peak. Where do we have the highest peak? I think like see where it's exactly symmetric. See where the graph is exactly symmetric, children. Metananda. Is it at this point? Is it in the middle? Maybe some.
It's 0.76.
So it's a little bit difficult to find in a 0 point. Okay, it's like depending on your judgment here. Okay, it's depending a little bit on your judgment here. So I think what I am getting here is 0.6. So what is the value of a very small square here? The value of a very small block here.
0.04.
So here you can see the value of a very small block is how much, Pata? 0 to 0.2. Divide that gap. So here there's a gap of 0.2. Are you looking at this? Learn how to take the value. So in the x-axis, you have a gap of 0.2 to represent 5 small squares. So divide by 5. There are 5 small squares representing 0.2. Can you see there are 5 small squares representing 0. Divide by 5. So what's the value of one small square? What's the value?
0.0.
0.
0.04.
0.04. So one teeny tiny square in the x-axis. So in the x-axis, one tiny square represents 0.04. Okay, so then what you have to do is you have to just add it from from 0.8, one small square back. What's the value here? From 0.8.
0.76.
0.76. So from 0.8, or what you can do is in other words, from 0.6 you can go 4 small squares front. 0.6 plus 4 small squares, that is 4 times 0.04. That's one way. Or the other way is from 0.8 you go 1 small square back. Understood? Are all of you looking at this diagram? Can all of you understand what I mean by a one small square in the x-axis? Do you understand what I did here? Okay, if you all are having issues, talk to me and tell me, teacher, I don't understand how I got this. Can you explain? So make sure you resolve your doubts before we move on. Okay. Right. So then I have taken this as the turning point. So that value, the time is, okay. So I'm making it smaller now. So the time is 0.76. Okay, time is 0.76 seconds. Write down the velocity of the ball when it reaches its highest point. Highest point velocity. This is a very intriguing question, and I'm curious to know your answer. So, what is your answer for the velocity at the highest point? What's your answer for the velocity at the highest point? What is your answer for the velocity at the highest point? What do you have to say? Now, we all know in a curve graph, how do we get the gradient? Gradient is we draw a tangent. Do you remember in O levels also we did? When you have a curve graph to get the gradient at now, point to point gradient is changing. At each and every point, the gradient is changing. So if you want to find the gradient at a particular point, you draw a tangent at that particular point. And the tangent gives you the gradient. So at the highest point, the velocity at the highest point, when you draw a tangent, what kind of a line are you seeing? Are you seeing a sloped line or do you see a line?
It's a horizontal line.
Horizontal line. It's a horizontal line. So the tangent at the highest point, if you want to get the velocity, you have to draw a tangent to the graph at the highest point. So that tangent very clearly is parallel to the x-axis. Therefore, the velocity at the highest point is 0. Can everyone understand or do you have any doubts? The velocity at the highest point will be 0 because the tangent to the highest point is a straight line parallel to the x-axis. Okay. Okay, shall I move on the next part? Describe the motion of the ball from the time it is thrown to the time it reaches its highest point. So to describe the motion, you should state the direction of travel of the ball and whether it's accelerating or decelerating. Now they want you to use these two words. So I told you when you have changing velocity, so this is an example of a graph that is accelerating or decelerating. Now looking from the starting point until it reaches the highest point. So this is the highest point. Can you all give me your answer? Now this is obviously what going from here to here. You can see the height is increasing. Height is increasing means from here to here. Height is increasing means your displacement is what? Are we having the direction of what? What's the direction? You are traveling up or down?
Up.
You're traveling up because you're having height 0 to travel to height 2.5. You're traveling up. Now, children, I want you to take a look at the velocity, the change in the velocity. Look at the gradients. Look at how the gradients are changing in this graph. The velocity, the gradients. And tell me, what do you think is happening to the gradient of the graph? Is the gradient increasing or is the gradient decreasing? Shavan, what do you think? When you look at this graph, now you know when you take a graph, when you like this, if you take a graph, when you compare this with this one, which one has the higher gradient? The higher the slope, the higher the gradient. So green color graph has a higher gradient. The higher the slope, the higher the gradient. The lower the slope, the lower the gradient. So if you look at this, is the gradient getting lower or is it getting higher?
It's
Gradient.
getting lower.
Look, Pudha, yeah, everyone has to see. Now some of you are saying increasing. Why do you say increasing? You can see this is graph is coming lower and becoming lower and becoming lower and then until it becomes flat. So when you go like this, the line becomes, the line is sloping down. This line is sloping down. Do you see it sloping down until it becomes flat? Okay, originally it starts like this and then it comes lower, 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 lower until it becomes flat. So then the gradient is decreasing, which means what? Which means what? The gradient is decreasing means the velocity is, children? Tell me,
It is decreasing.
the velocity is decreasing. So when you throw a ball up, it doesn't go up forever. Now, when you throw a ball up, do you think it will keep increasing the velocity? Obviously not, right? When you throw a ball up, it comes back to the ground. Why does it come back? Because from the moment you throw it up, the velocity starts decreasing. If the velocity is increasing, now it will never come back to earth, isn't it? So when the moment you release it from your hand, it goes up and its velocity will point to point. When it goes up, the velocity will decrease until at the highest point. what happens? At the highest point, the velocity of the ball becomes 0. Again, in mid-air, the ball becomes stationary for a fraction of a second. The ball becomes stationary in the air for a fraction of a second, and then only it comes down. Do you understand?
Sir,
Yeah, Buddha?
this graph is not constant. So,
Yeah.
like, can we find it's the velocity is decreasing or increasing by finding the angle?
Yes, by looking at the slope. Just by looking at the slope, you can see whether the velocity is decreasing or increasing. So that's why I was saying to look at the slope. You can see that's why I did this here. The slope at the beginning is high, and when you're going up, it becoming lower, 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 and at the highest point, what happens? It becomes flat. So when the graph becomes flat, it means zero velocity. When the graph becomes flat, the gradient is flat means it's zero velocity. So that means at part A, describe the motion. The ball travels upwards. Ball travels upward with what? Ball travels upwards with deceleration. It's decelerating upwards. Okay, it's not accelerating. It's going up, but its speed is decreasing. Speed is decreasing means it's decelerating. After you come to the highest point, now use your common sense. You come to the highest point. Now the ball, you throw it up. So it's a decreasing in speed, going up, going up, going up. And it becomes, at the highest point, it becomes stationary for a fraction of a second. And then now it starts coming down. So when you start coming down, what do you think will happen? Can you picture it in your mind? Now from the highest point, when it's coming down, is the ball now again going to be there slowing down, or is it gaining speed? Is the ball slowing down when it comes from up, or is it gaining speed and coming down? Tell me, children, can you all please answer me? Yes, children, can you all please answer me? So the ball is
speed.
It's increasing in speed. Ne? You can understand. You don't even need a graph to this for this. You can understand when it's coming down, the ball is increasing in speed, which means what? Increasing in speed means it is accelerating. So the ball, when it's coming after reaching the highest point, what happens? The ball travels downwards with acceleration. Or it's the acceleration in the downwards. The ball is accelerating downwards. Namely, what are it? Ball accelerates downwards. This is the answer for part 2. Ball accelerates downwards. Okay, so let's go to the next part. Okay, you will not be much be clear tested on displacement time graphs. The most important part that they'll be testing you is velocity time graph. So let's go for that quickly, because that is the one that is mainly tested in exams. Okay, so displacement time, they can't ask much questions from it. Okay, so shall we write the topic velocity time graphs? Write the topic velocity time graphs, and let's go for the main features of the velocity time graph. So I'll give you the 2 rules about the velocity time graph. There are 2 main rules. Number 1, gradient of the velocity time graph. That is very important. Okay, so these gradient rules are extremely important. Gradient of velocity time graph gives acceleration. The gradient of the velocity time graph is the acceleration. So it's very important, children, when you are going for the paper and when you are seeing a graph, it's absolutely necessary you check the axis. Check the axis to see whether it's a displacement time graph, or whether it's a velocity time graph, or whether it's an acceleration time graph, because you are learning that also. So checking the axis is absolutely necessary for you to know whether what you are talking about, what the gradient represents. Okay, so gradient of the velocity time graph gives the acceleration. Number two, there are two rules. Now in displacement time graph, we only spoke about the gradient. We didn't speak about anything else. But in velocity time graphs, there are two key features. What are the two key features? Number one, gradient is the gradient gives the acceleration, and area under the graph equals to the distance traveled. Area under graph gives the distance traveled. So these are the two key features. You can see there is an extra feature in VT graphs, velocity time graph. Short I call VT. So in VT graphs, there are two major properties. In displacement time, we spoke about only one property. But in VT graphs, we speak about two properties. So that is extremely important. And both of these properties will be used. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few graphs and you are going to attempt to interpret those graphs. Okay. I want you to interpret these graphs and tell me what each and every graph means. Time, velocity. So I will say velocity measured in meters per second, time measured in seconds. Now, first we'll give these. This is the first graph. Think about the gradient and give me the answer. It's the first graph. Second graph. Third graph. Try to interpret all these three graphs. Now, do you know the real meaning of acceleration? Acceleration means, now you see when you are going in a vehicle, accelerating means where you like really increase your speed, right? So velocity is increasing. That's what we mean by accelerating. So you're moving faster. Going at constant speed means you're keeping the same pace. You're going at the same pace. But accelerating is where you move faster, where you are going, I mean, how do you say, your velocity is rapidly increasing. The velocity rapidly increasing is called accelerating. Maintaining the same velocity is called going at constant velocity. Now you have to understand the meaning here. The gradient gives the acceleration. Acceleration means like how fast you are going. Now look at this first graph. The first graph, gradient is 0. So gradient is 0 means what? In the first graph, gradient is 0.
There's no acceleration.
There is no acceleration. Acceleration is 0. But does that mean velocity is 0? Acceleration 0, does it equal to velocity being 0 for this?
No.
Look at this, Buddha. So here, Buddha, here you can see in the velocity axis, you are at 5 meters per second. Can you see? This particular object is having a velocity of velocity, not a distance, not a displacement. You have to understand the difference in the axis very clearly now. This object is having a velocity of 5 meters per second, not a displacement. Again, this is not an object who is staying in one place. No, it has a velocity. If it's staying in one place, what do you think? Where do you think this line should go? If the object is staying in one place, where do you think the line should go? Tell me that also. If an object is stationary, if you want to show, now here I am telling you, this is the object who is moving with constant speed 5.
Is it on the x-axis?
Go along 0.
Okay, so here the object moves with constant velocity of 5 meters per second. So in here, if I'm asking you, how do we represent an object who is not moving? How do we represent an object who is not moving? What do we do?
The line should be on the
The line
x-axis.
should be on the x-axis. If it's on the x-axis, then this is 0. velocity, remember here, velocity is 0. So at this point, the velocity is 0 means the object is stationary. In here, velocity is 0. So object is stationary. So whenever an object becomes stationary, in velocity time graphs, we show it on the x-axis, on top of the x-axis. Nowhere else. Nowhere else can you show an object who is stationary. So when you have anywhere on top a line that is going a constant horizontal flat line, it means it's maintaining constant velocity. So this is a graph who maintains constant velocity. What about the next one? What do you see here? Gradient is what, children? Changing or constant or zero? Quickly. Gradient is constant.
The
Right?
gradient is constant and the
Therefore,
acceleration is constant.
we have a constant acceleration. Constant acceleration. What about the velocity? Are we having one velocity, or do we have changing velocity? Look at the velocity figures. Look at the velocity starting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Velocity is increasing. Can you see? With time, velocity increases. But with time, the velocity increases constant. I mean, it increases with the velocity increases, giving constant acceleration. Okay, Budala. So here the object, this vehicle is accelerating. So the velocity is increasing. Velocity is increasing and the object is accelerating. Okay, I hope you all can understand. The last one. What's the last one? Quickly tell me. What does this mean? What does this mean?
Miss,
Sorry, Pita.
Constant velocity.
in second one, what about velocity?
Velocity is increasing. Velocity is increasing. Can you see, Buddha? Because your velocity is not constant here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your velocity increases with time. The velocity is not constant. Your velocity is not constant because when you are having acceleration, acceleration means you are having velocity is changing. By definition, having an acceleration means your velocity is changing second to second. Every second your velocity changes. So that shows in the x-axis. Here in the velocity axis, you can see with the graph, the velocity is increasing. So you are accelerating because with time, when your velocity increases, you are accelerating. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Then the last one.
Constant velocity in opposite direction.
Constant velocity of negative 5 meters per second, which means what? Negative means what, children? You are moving in the down direction or you are moving to the left. Normally we say positive is moving to the right or positive is moving up, some one of the two. So negative means you are going backwards. Negative means you are going backwards. Okay, you are coming down or you are moving backwards. That's it. So negative means you are going backwards with 5 meters per second. Constant. It doesn't change. So constant velocity here. Constant velocity because there is no acceleration. So minus 5 means you're moving backwards. You're moving left. You're going back the negative direction. You're going to the negative direction. The opposite of what you were initially moving. Okay, acceleration is 0. So acceleration is 0. That's why we have constant velocity. Acceleration 0 means constant velocity. And this one is very important. Now, whenever an object is resting, the only way to show a resting object in velocity time graph is to have the line drawn on the x-axis. Nowhere else. Anywhere else a line drawn means that object is moving. The only place to show a stationary object in VT graph is to draw on the x-axis. Understood? That is very important. Okay, so I'm asking you that you better study the VT graph in more detail than the displacement time, because VT graphs are what you get for the exam. VT graphs are what you need to study in detail. So I'll give you another VT graph because it's extremely important that you nail these graphs. Okay, I want you to explain all these graphs. I'll divide this into 3 sections. A, B, C. Please explain me each of these 3 sections in this graph. Okay, velocity time graphs are important. So that's why I'm giving you some extra graphs. Okay, as I told you earlier also, every year in every past paper, you get a velocity time graph question. Definitely there. Try to give an interpretation of this graph. And I'll give another graph also. Okay, so try to understand. Give me your idea about give about the first graph. First we'll discuss this, then we'll go to the next one. Give me your idea about this graph, children, quickly. Okay, so look at this graph here, children. So looking at the section A, B, and C, very clearly we can see section A, the velocity is increasing and there is a constant gradient. Therefore, section A, there is a constant acceleration. Section A, the object travels with constant acceleration. The object travels with constant acceleration, which means what? The velocity increases. And by the way, yeah, so the velocity increases. So you are traveling, the velocity increases. Section B, you can see the graph is parallel to the x-axis. The moment the graph becomes parallel to the x-axis, gradient is 0. Gradient is 0 means acceleration is 0. Acceleration 0 means you have a acceleration 0 means what? You have constant velocity. At the section B, you are traveling with constant velocity. You have no acceleration. You maintain the speed. Say you accelerated and came to a speed of 10 meters per second. Now here you were at 0. Okay, then in section A, from 0 to 10, you accelerated. You had a speed of 0, you accelerated to a speed of 10. Then once you reach the speed of 10, what do? You maintain the speed of 10. Now you don't increase. So you maintain the speed of 10, and then what happens in C? What happens in C? You can see now the speed of 10 is coming back to a speed of 0. So when you are coming back from 10 to 0, what's that? Is that acceleration? Here also the velocity is changing, but it's not an acceleration. Acceleration means you are moving faster. Acceleration means you go faster and faster. What's the opposite of acceleration? The opposite of acceleration is what we call as deceleration.
Deceleration.
So means where you become slower and slower. So your velocity is changing, but it's not changing to become larger. The velocity becomes smaller and smaller. So it's a deceleration. So it's a constant, because it's the constant gradient, you had a constant deceleration. Because why is it a deceleration? Because you are starting at a speed of 10 and your speed becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So object is decelerating. Okay, then the next one. So then one more question, if I ask about all these 3 things, can you all tell me about the direction? What is the direction in all these travelings? Do we have any direction change? Or are all ABC going to the same direction? Think of moving in the road. First you are moving section A, constant acceleration. Then section B, constant velocity. Section C, you are slowing down. Okay, are you going to the same direction or are you having any changes in directions? What do you think? Tell me about the directions. What do you think about the direction wise? In direction wise, what do you think? Now in displacement time graph, do you remember displacement time graph? When this line comes down, it means you were coming back, you were moving back, right? But in velocity time graph, children, when you have a line coming down, does it mean you're moving back? Does it mean you're moving back? So these are the key things, Pute. These are the key things you need to understand. If you don't get these things, then you will have a big problem in the exam. Get these key things into your head properly. Okay, so in a velocity time graph, children, listen to this very carefully. Listen to this very carefully. In a velocity time graph, the only place where you are coming back, okay, in a velocity time graph, it's very easy to understand when you are coming back. If you are moving backwards, if you are moving to the negative side, your graph will be below the x-axis. Okay, your graph will be below the x-axis. If your graph is fully above the x-axis, it means you're moving to the same direction. You're moving forward only. Graph above the x-axis means you're moving everything forward. The moment your graph goes below the x-axis, and you are reversing direction. Okay, so that is the difference in the VT graph. That was in displacement time graph, it was a different story. Okay, so remember in VT graph, okay, the direction is reversed. Okay, in VT graphs, direction is reversed only. The direction is reversed only when graph is below x-axis. So when your graph is below x-axis, it means you are reversing, you are changing direction. You are changing direction. Okay, so here, okay, I hope you all got that. That is an extremely important key point. That is an extremely important key point. So here, if you check this graph ABC in this one, are we having any change in direction? Are we having any change in direction? Please answer me. There is no change in your...
Can you show what you wrote about VT graphs?
Yeah, in
On
VT
top?
graphs, with the direction now, you can go to the positive direction or you can come backwards. You may go front or you may come back. So in VT graphs, okay, when your graph is above the x-axis, it means you're going completely to the positive, this direction, the front. Okay, but if your graph is below the x-axis, it means you're going back. That's what I want you to understand. Okay, in the velocity time graph, if your graph is above the x-axis, now for example here, this object is traveling at constant velocity, it's going forward. It's going forward. What about this one? What about this one? Now see this one, you can see the graph is above the x-axis or below. You can see you are having negative velocity, right? So when you are having negative velocity or when your graph is below the x-axis, you are going backwards. You are going back. Do you get what I'm trying to tell you? This is backwards. Okay, when your graph is above the x-axis, but so here, this acceleration, this constant velocity, this slowing down, everything happens on while you are going forward. So you are going forward, accelerating. Then you are going forward and you are going at constant speed. Then you are going forward and you are slowing down. Something like that. Can you understand? It's happening on the same stretch of road. So stretch A, you are accelerating and going forward. Stretch B, you are going with constant velocity, you are going forward. Stretch C also, you are going forward. Even though your speed is decreasing, you are going forward. Your velocity is decreasing, but now it's like you are applying brakes in a vehicle. Now stage C is similar to applying brakes. So when you are applying brakes, you don't go back, right? When you apply brakes in the vehicle, you don't go back. When you apply brake in the vehicle, you slow down, but still you go front. Do you understand? Imagine this in the state of a vehicle. Stage A, in your vehicle, you are accelerating. So you are moving faster. Stage B, you maintain your vehicle at the same speed. Stage C, you brake the vehicle slows down. Are we going back? No, the entire stretch you are going forward. Understood? This is like a movement in a vehicle. Okay, so remember, if your graph goes below the x-axis only, you are going back. So that example you have in this graph. Okay, send me the answer for this graph quickly. Send me the answer now. Think about this and tell me the answer for this one. Okay, it's like this, children. So now when we come to the second graph, y'all can see in stage A, okay, we can see it's a constant gradient graph. Okay, constant gradient. So therefore, it's constant gradient means you are having a constant acceleration or deceleration. So depending acceleration or deceleration, Putala, listen to this very carefully. The acceleration or deceleration depends on whether your velocity is increasing or decreasing. Now, when you are going through stage A, you can see you are traveling from here to here, right? Stage A, you're coming from this up, you're coming down. Your velocity, Buddha, is it increasing or is it decreasing? Answer the question. Yeah, at the start, say you have a high velocity 10 and then you can
Velocity decreases.
velocity
Velocity
decreases.
decreases.
Therefore, stage A, what is it?
Deceleration.
Stage A is a deceleration. That's the word for stage A. In stage A, you're having a constant deceleration. Okay, so it's a constant deceleration because why in stage A the velocity decreases? Constant deceleration because from 10 you're coming to 0. Puthe. 10 will in 0 will 10 speed you're in decreasing in speed, right? From 10 to 0. From stage A, starting at 10 coming to 0, speed is decreasing. So constant deceleration. Constant deceleration, which way? Which way? In the positive direction or the negative direction? Which
Positive
direction?
direction.
In the positive direction. Constant deceleration in the positive direction. Constant deceleration in the positive direction. Okay. Then stage B. Now this is the stage where many went wrong. Please understand what happens in stage B. Look at the velocity. Starting velocity is 0. And you can see here you have it's negative. Okay, but -1, -2, -3. This, even though it's negative, Buddha, I know when we say negative VC, when you are going down, number-wise, numbers are getting lower. -1, -2, -3, -4 means numbers are getting lower. But velocity-wise, what do you think is happening to the speed of the object? When you are going this way, your speed is 0 in section B, you're starting with 0, right? Section B starts with 0. But then you have -1, -2, -3. Likewise, your velocity, Buddha, when the negative values are going down, is the speed decreasing or increasing here? Is the speed decreasing or increasing the more down you go?
Decreasing.
Decreasing. Now don't think of this.
-4 is smaller than -1.
-4 is smaller than -1. That's correct. But okay, but what you do is this, Buddha. Think of this as negative is only the direction. Negative is only the direction. The value is the magnitude. The value is the magnitude of your velocity. So you have a velocity of 4. The magnitude is velocity 4. Negative is simply the direction. Do you get what I'm trying to tell you? The negative is simply showing the direction, while the magnitude is given by the size here. So 4 is bigger than 3. So down the
Then
more
teacher,
down,
is it constant acceleration in
Yes.
the negative direction?
exactly, it's a constant acceleration in the negative direction. That is the word. Okay, it's a constant acceleration, but in the negative direction. Okay, so remember the negative sign here. Okay, so that what she said is correct. -4 is smaller than -1. Yes. But when we take the graph in vector quantity, now we're talking about vector quantities here. In vector quantities, the negative sign is simply simply used to show the direction, whether you are going front or back. That's it. Okay, but other than that, the value is the magnitude. So magnitude of 4 is bigger than a magnitude of 1. Magnitude of 4 is bigger than 2. So likewise, the more down you go, your velocity increases. Your velocity increases and negative means you're going back. So constant acceleration in the negative direction. An example of this graph, can you tell me an example of this graph? An example of this graph is this ball. When you throw up the ball, this is an example for the ball throwing question. So this graph is a good example of what happens when you throw a ball up. Do you see what's happening? You throw a ball up at 10 meters per second. What happens? The ball goes up, but does it go up increasing in velocity or decreasing? When the ball is thrown, when you throw it from your hand, when it goes up, is the speed decreasing or increasing? Ball is good at the answer me now. You'll have to talk with me. When the ball goes
The
up,
speed decreases, the velocity decreases.
The velocity decreases until what? Until you come to a stage where the velocity becomes
0 to its
0.
maximum point.
So then that is this part. So this is stage A. This is stage A, where you're going up, but it's decelerating. You're decelerating and going in the positive direction. Do you see stage A, decelerating and going in the positive direction, stage A. Then what stage B? Now what's happening? Stage B is what happening? You're coming down, negative direction. But when you're coming down, do you see what's happening in the ball? Is it slowing down? No, from the very top, it starts coming down and it's gaining in speed. When it's coming down, do you see the ball is gaining in speed and coming to the ground, back again. So the speed is increasing when it comes back. So this graph is an example of the ball thrown up. You throw the ball up, the first section for the ball goes
Excuse
up.
me, teacher.
Yes, Buddha?
Then teaching the stage B, the velocity increases, right?
Yes, the velocity increases. Yes. In stage B, that's why I use the word acceleration. Acceleration means the velocity increases. Acceleration means the velocity increases. Yes, in stage B, velocity increases. Okay, so get this very, very clearly into your head. It's extremely important that you understand velocity time graph to the point, to the letter, because this is what you are tested. Okay, this is what you will be tested. Okay, so remember these stuff. Give more priority for VT graph. Give a lot more priority for the VT graph than for any other graph. Okay.
You wrote something right in red about VT graphs and the direction.
Yes.
Can you show it again?
In VT graph,
Teacher, what is that word?
direction.
Not that, teacher. The next word.
Direction
Reverse.
is reversed. Only when graph is below x-axis. The direction is reversed. So you see a negative direction when you are below the x-axis. If you remember in displacement time graph, that was not the case, right? Displacement time graph, the direction is reversed. The moment the graph comes back, the direction reverses. In displacement time graph. Okay? So get these things properly into your head. Okay, shall we move, children? Because we need to go for the sums now. I think I have given you all the basics of the VT graphs now. So you have a good knowledge now. Okay, hopefully you have a very good knowledge about the VT graph now. Especially this graph is very insightful. Hopefully it opened your eyes into all the possibilities of the VT graph. Okay, I hope it opened your eyes into all the possibilities. Now let's go for the questions with VT graphs. Okay. Okay. So let's go to question numbers. There are a lot more questions to do. So we'll start with question number 1. So I'll help you all with question number 1. Look at this, children, everyone. The diagram shows a speed time graph of the motion of an athlete running along a straight track. For the first 4 seconds, he accelerates uniformly from rest to a velocity of 9. The velocity is then maintained for a further 8 seconds. Find the rate at which the athlete accelerates. Now, when they say you to find the acceleration, do you have acceleration all over this graph? Do we have acceleration throughout this graph or only for a section of the graph? Tell me.
Only for section.
Only for a section, right? You don't have an entirely accelerating graph. Now we all know very well the first section, section A here is the accelerating one. Section B is constant velocity, 0 acceleration. In section B, no acceleration. Okay, so section A, they want you to find the acceleration. How do you find the acceleration? So one way to find acceleration is velocity, change in velocity over time. Or you can even use gradient. Okay, you can use acceleration is change in velocity over time. Or you can use the gradient. Acceleration equals gradient. Any of those things are correct. Okay, you can use both the methods because acceleration in VT graph, acceleration is equal to the gradient. So either you can use acceleration is change in velocity over time, or you can use acceleration equal to the gradient and use y difference over x difference and get it. That is also possible. Okay, acceleration is y difference. Acceleration is y difference over x difference also you can use. I don't mind whatever it is. Okay. So we'll use your change in velocity is how much? What's the change in velocity? You start from 0, you go to 9. Change in velocity is 9. Time is 4 seconds. How much is the change in velocity? How much is the change in velocity? 9 divided by 4 is how much, Patala?
125.
2.25 meters per second square. The unit is different, meters per second square, because velocity is meters per second. Time is second, so this s also goes up. S minus 1 with another s minus 1 is s minus 2 meters per second square. Or you may use coordinates. If you use coordinates, origin is 0, 0. If you use this coordinate, this is 4,9. You may use coordinates, or you may use this. I think we are most commonly using velocity over time. Y1 minus y2, 9 minus 0, x1 minus x2, 4 minus 0. Again, 9 over 4. Same answer. Same answer comes even if you use the coordinate method, or even if you use the equation. Okay, same answer comes. And the next one, find the displacement from the starting point of the athlete after 12 seconds. How do you get the displacement at the end of 12 seconds? So I gave you the rule. What is the rule? What is the rule? What is the rule, children? The rule is
Area under the graph.
area under the graph gives the distance you have traveled. Now here, distance and displacement, are there going to be any difference? Is there going to be a difference between the distance and the displacement here? What do you think? What do you think? Will, because you know displacement difference comes if you are going front and if you are coming back. If you come back a little bit, then yeah, displacement will be that coming back thing you ignore it. Shortest distance taken for displacement. Now, when you look at this graph, what do you say? Have to say about the athlete? Is he coming back at any point, or is he just moving forward only? This graph, tell me, is he coming back or is he moving forward only?
Just moving forward.
Moving forward only, right? Accelerating front, constant velocity to the front. So the displacement distance are both the same here, because you are moving front only, no issue. So area equal area of the graph is a trapezium. So area of a trapezium is what? Half a plus b into h. If you want to get the area, you can use area of a triangle plus area of a rectangle. Both the options are available. You may use area of a triangle plus area of a rectangle. Both those options are okay. So area of, I'll use area of the trapezium directly. So these are the two parallel lines. Half the parallel lines are 12 plus 8 into height is how much? The perpendicular height between the two parallel lines is 9. Can you all understand? The perpendicular distance between the two parallel lines is 9. So what's the answer? Can I know the answer for the area?
It's 90.
How much?
90.
90 meters. So this athlete has run 90 meters. Okay, children. So I'll give you some homework because I'm like extremely tired of talking. Okay, so I'll give you these questions for homework. Give an attempt, and next week we will complete, and we will go a little bit fast because I think I'm going extra slow here with y'all. Okay, because I want to give you the proper understanding of these graphs. That's why I'm going slow, but we will definitely pick up the pace in the next few classes. Okay, we will pick up the pace because we need to finish the book fast. There are other books to finish also. S1 is there, and we have to, yeah, so many books are there to be done. Okay, and we need to cover the syllabus. We cannot go until the end of the we cannot come to the very close to the exam, so we need to finish it at a very good margin so that you have plenty of time to do papers. Okay, so we'll try to cover as much as possible, as fast as possible. Okay, students, so I'll stop from here.
Teacher, what are the homework question numbers? Question
So
number
question
3.
number 3 and question number 7. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll try this for homework, and I will explain you the answers on the other day. Okay.